What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out about the company, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So far, Rivian opened kind of flat, a hell of a lot of volatility. So 1889 is so far the low, 1925 is the high. Both make perfect sense when it comes down to the technicals, but as you can kind of see, it is one absolute crazy volatile day, and most likely a lot more to come, especially with CPI coming out later this week on January the 11th. But I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know. Market's been open 1 hour so far, 3.7 million shares have been traded, 34.6 is the average. No news from Rivian itself, no SEC filings, so the last news is them actually disclosing their Q4 production numbers and delivery numbers, and over and above that, just confirming the date, which I believe is February the 21st. So I'm going to be live streaming that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But moving on though, technicals. Technicals are not necessarily looking the best with Rivian, especially with it right now at $19.12. It is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 1889 is a very strong support. In fact, it did bounce off of that today, but technically, bigger picture, the trend is kind of set. So some things to watch for. Of course, Rivian could have pops here and there, but $20.01, or I guess $20 if you just want to round it down, is going to be the next strong resistance point. Number of retail investors have been getting out of Rivian, and stochastic, you do see it at 14, which is considered somewhat oversold. As well, you do see a deviation, so red line above the black showing a bearish sentiment. So it's kind of funny because what has killed this momentum rally with Rivian and a lot of other stocks was just a lot of analysts coming out saying like, hey, the broader market is too overdone, it's too hot, it's overbought, it needs to cool down. So that in among itself is what killed the momentum. And now if you look at a lot of stocks such as Rivian, everything is oversold. But now a lot of analysts are saying, well, you know what? Maybe it's the multiples that is too high on a lot of these stocks, such as Rivian, because I'll quickly go over to Rivian for you and give you a good breakdown of that. So Rivian right now for their multiples. So the PS ratio as it stands right now is 4.8. And keep in mind, Rivian was at one time about 13. That's where it was hovering for a while, kind of got retraced back down to 8, but currently is 4.8. The future is 3.2. Analysts have no idea what the hell they are talking about if they're saying that this multiple is too high. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. But what do I know? I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. When it comes down to some analyst ratings, I'll go over some of the latest ones, but I'll start off by going over shorts. And actually, while I'm on Ortex, I just wanted to bring this up because there's an interesting article. So it says, where will Rivian stock be in 3 years? That's what everyone wants to know, right? Are EVs here to stay? Is it going to retrace? Is it just going to go belly up, as what a lot of people think? And it's kind of interesting. So looking at the closer Q4 numbers and deliveries, oddly enough, whoever wrote this did kind of correlate the fact that on a year-over-year basis, Rivian actually grew significantly greater than Tesla. Of course, Rivian's going through an expansionary stage, so it's kind of common sense. But the fact is, if you're looking at the numbers itself, Rivian is at 73% year over year for their deliveries, whereas comparing it to even Tesla is 38%. So Rivian isn't doing all that bad, and usually a lot of growth companies that are expanding typically do have a higher multiple. So while I'm on here, I'll quickly pop over to Tesla. So Tesla, just to give you a good overview and comparison between Rivian and Tesla. So Tesla right now is 7.9. So does that make sense? So is really Rivian overvalued? No, not at all. Considering Rivian most likely for the next several quarters or potential years is going to have more growth on a percentage basis, of course, than Tesla. So is it once again overvalued? I would say no, but what do I know? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Going over what shorts are doing, well, back over here. So right now, shorts are technically returning about 71,000 shares. 13.18% of the free float is being shorted. Utilization is 26%. And currently 88.41 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.57%. So that's obviously somewhat okay. And through interactive brokers, short availability does indicate around 10 million shares available to be shorted. So I'm just bringing this up as a benchmark. Definitely Rivian is not a squeeze play. Of the options so far that's being done within the first 1 hour, $1.6 million in calls being purchased versus 493,000 in puts. 53% of all the options being done so far is bearish, and looking at the call options that are being purchased, there is a consensus that it is going to be once again over $20, which is somewhat okay. Of course, that's correlated very much close to this, so that pivot point right here of that $20 mark. But looking at puts, it is anticipated for it to be sub, it's kind of not much information. I'll look at the open interest. So based on this information, it is anticipated for it to be sub 16. So that's kind of extreme if you ask me. These are some of the transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market above $100,000. So first thing, you see a sell, so 2.41 million. Then aside from that, you see some buying. So very small numbers so far. We'll just have to wait and see if big money does buy Rivian and causes it to go up, bouncing off of that very strong support, or if it continues to trend down. So of course, as you can kind of tell based on my tone, I really do like Rivian. I know bigger and better things are going to be coming in the foreseeable future. The technicals is the only X factor that is causing it to go down. So of course, I went over some of the fib levels and whatever else. Some of you are big fans of the Elliott wave, and based on that, it does have $22.60 being the pivot. For as long as it is below that, then it is anticipated to go as low as $14 to $15 roughly. So 14 to 15.40. I kind of find that overdone, but oddly enough, over the last several months, the Elliott wave technicals have been on point. So who knows? That might come to realization. If it does, definitely I will be a very big buyer at that stage. Because during the latest downtrend, when it did go to, I think 12, 13, something like that, I think I didn't catch the bottom, but I bought in at like 1380. So very, very close, or it might have been 14, but whatever, regardless, very happy with my purchase, and definitely that is how you build some fairly good wealth, because years from now, like, I don't know if there's a lot of people out there that can realistically say that Rivian is going to be at a cheaper price than it is now. Again, I could be wrong, but analysts as well are very optimistic. So these are some of the latest ratings that did come out. So Rod did give a downgrade, no price target though, and Rod does have a 59% success rating. Mark 5 days ago with Goldman Sachs, 61% success rating, gave a $20 price target. And then Michael D.A. Davidson, 19. A lot of that is correlated to the Q4 numbers. Of course, I think as soon as they came out, a lot of people started to just shout, hey, there's a demand issue. But I feel like that's kind of premature. We just have to wait until their actual earnings on February the 21st, once again, just for them to kind of explain that. So even though, like I mentioned, 78% year-over-year growth for their deliveries, you never want to see a start of a demand issue, because there's a lot of companies that have gone down that route. And once you go down that route of kind of losing demand, it's just domino effects. And there's another company that I do cover that is a very good telltale sign of that, and that is Lucid. So Lucid has just, obviously this is a Rivian video, so I'm not going to get into that. But aside from that though, in my opinion, there's a lot of good data points and bullish data points out there. Just the only negative right now is Rivian's technicals. But then again, if you do have a long-term investment mentality, take that for what you will. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. It has been extended up until January the 15th. So sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So for $100, you get 5 stocks. That is a crazy deal. Sign up, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.